The sun sets in water and it comes at dark. Why did you care for me? Why did you run? And when they ask about me,
well, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well on another beautiful drive doing my Colorado loop. I just love it. Love it. They got that Walmart driver right there just passed me. He is hauling butt through these mountains. He's got to be empty. But this is Utah, if you didn't know already. I'm headed up to Idaho. Wanted to discuss the last video I made. Those videos get lots of comments. Lots of people get fighting mad when I talk about efficiency and the comparing older, trucks, not necessarily older trucks, but the long hood trucks and flat nose. It's fuel mileage has a whole lot to do with aerodynamics. A whole lot to. If you bought a Corvette and you took it on the highway, you're getting close to 30 miles to the gallon. You could take that same engine, transmission, put it in a truck, and you're going to get about half of that. It's just everything has to do with aerodynamics. The driver has a little bit to do with it, and the engine, of course, the efficiency of the engine, but it's mostly to do with aerodynamics. And that's why I pick on the hooded trucks. The other reason I pick on them is because of YouTubers. You guys are probably like me, and you watch YouTube, and if you watch any popular YouTube truck driving channel, you are more than likely going to see somebody in a hooded truck getting 5 miles a gallon. The reason those guys are in those trucks is for a specific purpose, because they look good and they know that people are going to click on their videos when they see that truck. If you watch, their thumbnails and what have you, 90% of them are going to show a picture of them with that hooded truck sitting out there, because they're beautiful. They're beautiful trucks, but they're not good for long haul. So guys, don't get bent out of shape because I'm talking trash about your hooded truck. It's just the nature of the beast. I've got some comments like, well, I went bankrupt because I bought a truck that had a DPF system on it. And man, that sucks. You want to start your business, you go bankrupt because of mechanical issues. But I'm here to tell you, most trucking businesses go out of business, and that's probably the number one reason is mechanical issues. And it's not, most of them don't have anything to do with the DPF, but the DPFs came out in 2008, and for those first 5 years they were horrible and causing lots of issues. But after that, they've gotten better every year. We're to the point now where these brand new trucks, you can expect not to have to touch that DPF system for 2 or 3 years at least. So that's not that's not an issue anymore, and it's not something, when I talk about my efficiency, I'm always comparing a new truck to an old truck, and I do a specific thing comparing those two trucks, because I realize that YouTubers are out there making videos with those trucks. Lots of guys see that, and they've got those trucks on their mind. So when they're starting their own business, that's probably what they're going to lean toward. But not only that, when you are starting a business and you don't want to be a company driver anymore, you want to own your own truck, and you start shopping for trucks, you realize real quickly how expensive a truck is. And when you start dwindling down to get to a price that you can afford, guess what? That's where all those old hooded trucks are sitting. You can find them all day, every day, with a freshly rebuilt motor, and you can get them for $55,000 to $65,000. But it's, you know, if you don't sit down and make some realistic numbers, then you don't understand that that truck's going to cost you a whole lot more than a brand new truck. And just as a quick comparison, and I know I'm going to get more, you know, fight back on this, but there's a guy on YouTube that I don't remember the name of his channel, but all he does is rent trucks and trailers. He doesn't pay for maintenance. He doesn't pay for tires. He doesn't pay for oil changes. He doesn't pay for breakdowns. Now, his payment every month is over $5,000 a month. Think about that, $5,000 a month. It sounds like a whole lot. Now, let's go back to the truck that you know, people think they can afford because they can get it, and it's got a rebuilt motor and they think it's dependable. That thing's getting 5 to 5.5 miles per gallon. And now I know I'm going to have a lot of people on here say, well, I'm getting 6 and I'm getting 7. I understand there are some people out there, but the overwhelming majority of people who have these old pre-emissions hooded trucks are getting about 5 to 5.5 miles a gallon on a good day. But even if you say I'm getting 6 miles to the gallon, if you're doing long haul trucking, long haul, and you're averaging, let's just say, you know, because right now rates are down, you're having to run more miles, and you're doing 3,000 miles a week. Do the math. Sit down with a piece of paper, and you'll quickly figure out that that old truck getting 6 miles to the gallon, you're paying as much in fuel as the guy with the brand new truck is paying for fuel and his monthly payment. Think about that. Now, in the old truck, you still have to add on your monthly payment and all the maintenance and breakdowns. So you're in the hole real quick when you could be driving a brand new truck and not worrying about those maintenance issues. You know, even if you went out and bought one, that would considerably lower that payment. And, you know, you'd have a warranty for a few years. But, you know, for the sake of this argument, I'm just talking about the worst case scenario, the highest your payments could be. So, you know, I get feedback a lot, you know, why are you always picking on these old trucks? And that is why. Because YouTubers, they use them to get views, and, you know, people see the good side of everything. You know, the YouTubers driving around in a 20-year-old W900, and it sounds good and it looks good, and they've got that gear shifter that's sticking up. You have to stand on the bunk in the back to shift gears, and they're telling you they're making $8 a mile, and all that's going into your brain, and you think that's the truth. When in reality, you can go out, even if you don't get, you know, a brand new truck, even if you go out and get a truck like I had that was 6 or 7 years old, that was getting 7 to 8 miles to the gallon, you're going to be in a lot better shape. And to all those people who say, well, I don't want those DPF issues, here's what I did. When I bought my truck, it had 600,000 miles on it, and the DPF was in bad shape, the filter, the whole system itself. So about a month and a half, 2 months after I had it, I took it down and had almost the whole system replaced, and paid about $6,500. Now, I could have just taken it down and had the filter cleaned, but I knew if I did that, I'd be right back in the shop getting another part of it replaced, and I'd be spending another week out of work. So I nipped it all in the bud. I just had most of it replaced, spent $6,500, and I didn't have any more trouble with it for a couple of years. The engine had an oil leak, which was causing the DEF filter to get filled up. That's that's another issue. If your engine isn't running quite right, you're going to have more trouble with that DEF filter. But what did I do when I started having that issue? I knew my truck needed to be rebuilt, and I knew I could push that off for a little while. So I took that filter. I was at my house. It took me about an hour to take that filter out, and it took me about 3 hours to clean it. And I put it back in. I wasn't out. I spent like $5 on some degreaser, and I did all the work myself. But you know, that just goes along with all the people who are complaining that yeah, the DPF system put me out of business, and I spent so much money waiting on a part. I also had an extra sensor and an extra doser valve that I carried on the truck. So if I ever had to switch them out, I could do the doser valve real quick, or I could just stop in and get a mechanic to do it for me. Most people fail not because of a DPF system or a mechanical failure. They fail in business because they don't have enough money to get them through those bad times, like right now. And if you're not planning ahead, and this is why I make these videos, because of times like right now. You know, 2 years ago, if you went out and bought a hooded truck, you were making money no matter what. You still weren't making as much money as somebody in a brand new truck, but you were making money. But right now is where there's a difference. And I pointed out all those YouTubers on that last video for a specific reason. Every single one of them they're struggling. Like I said, one guy, he's in a newer hooded truck, but he doesn't get the fuel mileage. And he came out and said, hey, I bought this truck for specific reasons. I thought I'd get clicks on YouTube. Now he's selling his truck. There's another guy who has a hooded truck. He's getting 5 miles to the gallon. He's said it several times. Over the past couple months, he's been breaking even. So he's going to have to put in more miles. You know the guys. You've seen them out there. You've seen the most popular YouTube channels. And when things are going good, they're making money on YouTube. They're making money in their truck. But times like right now, when they're breaking even or they're losing money, they've got to come up with a different plan, or they've got to drive more miles or something like that. Even, you know, in my operation where I really pay attention to those things. I don't worry about how my truck looks or how many views it gets on YouTube. I really take into account the efficiency, but I still don't do things the most efficient way. I'm not over there running from Minnesota to South Carolina every day, or Minnesota or you know, Detroit to Tennessee, and staying in those good lanes. I just don't. I prefer to drive out here. As you can see, it's nice. There's no traffic, beautiful scenery, no stress. But that doesn't make me the most money. But at the end of the day, if I start struggling out here, I don't have to spend money to change the way I drive. I don't have to sell my truck, go out and buy a different truck that gets more you know, miles per gallon. All I have to do is change my lane. That's all, you know, those videos are about. I'm not trying to pick on you guys with the hooded trucks, but as times get, you know, things get tighter and tighter and tighter, sometimes it's just too late to realize, crap, I should have bought something more fuel efficient. And I do understand the argument about the DPF, but you don't have to go out and buy a 2013 or 2014 or 2015 even. You can get something newer. And if you want to be an outlaw, you can go get the DPF system taken off altogether and not have to worry about it. But, you know, there again is some other issues of stress. It only takes one time of you getting stopped and somebody recognizing that you don't have it on there. And anyway, that, you know, that's all it is. I'm not trying to insult anybody, but, you know, when you see these guys going down the road in these big, beautiful trucks, just keep in mind that they're blowing big, beautiful dollars out the tailpipe.